Welcome back, everyone, to Crime and Entertainment. I am your host, Hollywood Wade, here with the one and only Frank Santorelli.
Oh, my God. Keep your seats, folks.
Yes,
keep your seats.
Now, you may better know him as the bartender at the Bada Bing from one of the best shows ever, in my opinion, The Sopranos. Now, we're going to get into how you landed that role and everything that entailed, but are you okay? Or is everything good health-wise? Because you sure took a beating through that season right there.
I did. I'm fine. Thanks for asking, though. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You're cracking up, man. You've been working too hard.
There you go. Look, man, we're glad you could stop by the show.
Yeah, this is great, man. I'm ready.
I think we're going to have a fun time. So where did you, because you not only did you star in that, you've been in some other films, you're a comedian, you got a ton of stuff out there on the internet you can go look up if you want to laugh, but we're going to start from the beginning here. Where did you grow up as a kid?
Cleveland, Ohio.
Cleveland, Ohio.
That's correct. And I was working in Cleveland in 1981 as a comedian at the Cleveland Comedy Club with Drew Carey.
Yes.
A guy named Johnny Henton, who played Overton on Living Single.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah, we all started there. And so then I moved to Boston. Because man. Boston had an exploding comedy scene at that time.
Right.
It really did. There was a whole ton of clubs, colleges. You could make a killing here money-wise as a comedian in the, like 90, 95, like that. Yeah, it was wild. It was wild. We were working like crazy. And so I moved here, not Cleveland. You couldn't do it in Cleveland. There was only one club.
Right.
But here's like a hub. Boston has like a hub of comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Wright, Dennis Leary.
Love him.
God, there's a whole ton of, I don't know if you heard of Barry Crimmins.
That name sounds familiar.
Yeah, Tony V, Lenny Clark. Steve Sweeney. Yeah, these are the guys I work with all the time out here. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. And so, what was the question?
I was just asking where you grew up, but you said you were
Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland Comedy Club, 5 years. The only other game in town was the Pittsburgh Funny Bone. And I would go there and work every once in a while, but I had to work in Cleveland at the Cleveland Comedy Club. There was no other game in town. And I had to wait my turn with other comics and stuff. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So when you hit Boston, obviously, like you said, there's a lot more open, areas around there for you to work. You named some of the names that you, work with. Obviously, some of those are top notch. Dennis Leary, Lenny Clark. Did you always want to be a comedian, or did an acting bug kind of strike you in the midst? Or?
I was a class clown, man. 1976 at Mayfield High School, I was a class clown out of 500 kids.
I don't believe it.
And a friend of mine used to say to me, you should be a comedian. And I actually went down to the Cleveland Comedy Club, walked in, and went up on an open mic night and began a comedy career. That's lasted over 35 years.
Right.
Yeah. And Boston lent itself to that. It really did. I moved here because Cleveland wasn't happening. It really wasn't. Boston was exploding. And then now every city is. Cleveland has a ton of comedians now. Local ones, local guys,
Right.
And so, yeah, it was a lot of fun. And so I moved to Boston is when I started to get an agent, a manager, and all that. Thinking about that, and then you start. New York was the where everybody wanted to end up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You wanted to work in New York. That was the big time.
The Mecca.
And it worked because I started working the clubs, and agents and managers sit in the audience and watch.
Right.
Simple as that. I was approached by a guy. He came up to me. Do you have agent, manager? And I said, nope. And that's how I got the Sopranos audition.
Now, who was that?
Well, his name was Vincent. I'm not with him any longer.
Okay.
He called me up and said, we want to represent you. And I said, okay, good. And within 2-3 months, I had half a dozen auditions under my belt for various things that I didn't get. He said, there's a new thing coming up. It's called The Sopranos. He didn't say anything about it. Nobody knew anything about it. I went in, I read for it. A week later, they called me.
Wow.
You got it. So it's a day player, meaning I'm there one day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in the makeup room. Girl comes in. Hi, I'm going to put your makeup on. I said, okay. David Chase came into the room and said, put some tattoos on this guy. And she goes, what? He goes, put some tattoos on this guy. You're kidding. He goes, go crazy. Go crazy. Put tattoos all over both arms and cut his sleeves off. And I had these huge arms at the time. I really was huge at the time.
Right.
And it was like a canvas. And she went nuts and put these tattoos all over me. And then as I was leaving, to cut a long story short, David Chase came in and said, take a picture of those tattoos. And the girl, when he left, said, this is huge. I said, why? She said, that means you're coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So I was only supposed to be there one day. I ended up on 13 episodes. So they liked me. Mm-hmm. You have to be easy to work with. You can't give them any problems. You can't be late. Mm-hmm. You got to know your lines. If I screw up my lines, Gandolfini would be ripped because I only have 3 of them. Right. He's got 6 pages to do.
Right. So now this was the pilot you were talking about?
No. This was the first episode I'm in. I'm sorry, not the very first one. I think it's the next one.
Okay.
I'm in that one. I'm the reason he goes into therapy. He beats the shit out of me with the phone.
Right. Yeah.
And the next episode, he's in front of Melfi. Right, because I can't work the phone.
Yeah. Well, I think now, don't quote me. This is my Sopranos memory here, but I think that's 46 long. I think.
Yes. Okay. Yes, you are correct.
Okay. All right.
That's pretty good.
Now, so by that time, then they had already shot the pilot, so the series had been picked up to do the whole season.
I believe so.
Okay.
I'm in the first 4 episodes.
Right. Because
of The Sopranos, for real quick little shots.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing cards.
Right.
I can't remember exactly what I'm doing. I'm at the bar,
mm-hmm.
and that's it. And you don't see me for a long time.
Now, and from what I remember from people that I've interviewed in stories, they shot that, and it was about a year, I think, before it got greenlit to come back and shoot the rest of the season.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. And so, yeah, overall, 13 episodes. Okay. And in 10 of them, I get the shit kicked out of me.
So in the very first one,
I would come in and the people would screech. The people that were working the lights would be screeching like I was a battle bot in the Thunderdome, you know. Georgie's here, he's gonna get beat. There's gonna be blood. It's gonna be great. You can hear them. It was hysterical. The crew loved me. The crew loved me because every time they saw me, they knew I was gonna get the shit kicked out of me.
The very first one you talked about where you're trying to transfer the call and you're pressing the button and he can't get it. He beats the hell out of you with that phone. So give us some insider tips here. What is it?
You won't believe it.
Is the phone
okay? So they get a rubber phone.
Okay,
you are correct.
Okay,
from a place in Los Angeles, and it goes like this. It's rubber, and the union guy comes up to me. I'm not kidding. He goes, "You're gonna get hit with this phone." I go, yes. He goes, it's going to hurt. I go, yeah. He goes, you're not going to get hurt, but it's going to hurt. Right. I said, okay. He goes, are you okay with that? I said, yes. He goes, okay, sign here for stunt pay. And I go, okay. He goes, I have to ask you again, are you okay with this? We can replace you with another guy, your stunt double. I say, no, I'm fine. Okay, sign here, please. You're going to get stunt pay. I go, cool.
Now,
Gandolfini comes up to me like this with the phone. He starts going like this. And he's standing right in front of me without saying a word. He's hitting me like this. And he goes, no way. No way. He goes, it's not going to work. And I go, what? He goes, I can't hit you with this. I said, yes, you can. I said, just hit me. Don't worry about it. I'll clench my teeth. It's just rubber. It'll sting. Do whatever you want. He goes, no. Like he was kind of saying he would have been out of control.
right.
He might have clocked me or something by
Right.
mistake. And so he goes, let's get something in here. So they get a big, like a tripod that holds one of these big, huge lighting things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got bevels and switches and everything all over it. And they put this thing in front of me like this, just like this, right here. And he went, bing, bing. And I just went, bing, like that. Isn't that wild? And
Wow.
so, yeah, he's going, ping. And we're trying to time it. And so we did 2 of them, and that's the ones they used. We did like twice.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was fascinating because he was smart enough to know that he might hit me or something.
Right.
Because he's a method actor.
Right.
He was going to be pissed. For real.
Yeah, I don't know how true it is, but I've heard stories that like if there was a scene where he needed to be angry or he needed to be pissed off, that he would put like a rock in his shoe to get aggravated and
punching a van.
Yeah.
There's something you can go on the web on YouTube. Frank Santorelli talks Georgie about Gandolfini. Punch that up, and it shows me talking about him, and it shows him punching a van with his fists, the side of a van. Okay, so we do 7 takes. We do 7 or 8 takes of this.
Mm-hmm.
He jumps up out of his chair and then ting, ting, like that. And after the 7th one, it snapped in half. The rubber snapped. Again, up and he goes, well, I guess that's fucking it. There's no way you're going to put that thing back together. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I worked closely with that guy, man.
Yeah,
it was incredible.
An incredible
actor. Incredible. It was like working with Marlon Brando.
Right.
I ain't kidding you. He was amazing. I was in awe of him, and he was the nicest guy in the world. He was just a guy from Jersey.
Right.
He really was. And he did a lot of stuff for the firefighters and the cops for 9/11. Never said a word to anybody about it. He was just a good guy, and tragic. My mother would say, see, look who died. Of all the people to die on that show, look who died.
Yeah.
And we're all like, oh my gosh, we were in shock. Yeah.
I remember the day he died, like that was when I caught the news. I was actually at like a physical therapy appointment, and I'm on the table, and I think maybe they thought I was bullshitting about how bad my neck was hurting because the lady's doing something and somebody's like, James Gandolfini died, and I was fucking whip my head around like real quick, like what? Right. She was like, whoa. And I was floored. I couldn't believe it.
I was in a bar and it was loud. And I looked up and I saw Gandolfini on the TV screen. And I couldn't read what it said. And my phone rang. And it was my sister. 12:30 at night. I go, hello? She goes, hey, James Gandolfini died. I go, what? Wow. Yeah, stunning. Anyway, it was fascinating working with him and Paulie Walnuts. I worked with them all. Man.
One of my really favorite characters on the show is Paulie. Like hands down. His lines and Uncle Junior's lines are like some of the best. Like as far as the acting, yeah, Jim's a fantastic actor, but the lines that Paulie has and the way he delivers them, and same with Uncle June, Dominic, they were just classic.
Absolutely. Hilariously funny. Uncle Junior. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We did that Soprano Con thing out in Jersey 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. Man, that was a blast.
Yeah, they had another one,
much fun.
I think not too long ago.
Yeah, they did. We didn't go to that.
Okay.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I think it's, yeah, I don't know what it is. I can't figure it out.
Now,
But we had fun at that thing.
A lot of people don't know Sirico he wasn't necessarily playing a part there. Sirico's the real deal.
I heard that he absolutely did some time somewhere.
Quite a bit of time.
And you don't mess with him. And I did unknowingly one time. Listen to this. I tell this on stage. I'll go, you want to hear a funny Soprano story? Okay. Tony Soprano, Paulie Walnuts. I got two real quick funny stories. One is nobody ever touched his hair.
Right.
He came in like that. He would go to some friend and that friend had his hair done and he would show up with that. He only did makeup.
Mm-hmm.
I'm standing next to Gandolfini. I go, what do you think you'd do if I went over? And I went, eh. Gandolfini goes like this. Go ahead. Two words. Go ahead. Like he would pay money to see his reaction of him killing me for real. The other one was I was in a real bar. The Bada Bing was real. Mm-hmm. It was a bar, a beer in the fridge, booze everywhere, glassware, whatever I needed. It was real. Right. And so one time there was a break. Stevie Van Zandt goes, Frankie, give everybody a fucking drink. I go, yeah? He goes, yeah, go ahead. What the fuck? We had 20 minutes. Nothing was going on. I go, boom, boom, boom. I'm really giving people beers. I'm opening them up. I'm pouring. I'm putting ice in the glass. I'm bartending.
Yeah.
And Tony Soprano was standing there in a silver suit. He wasn't working. He was just hanging. And I go, Perrier? He gave me a look like this and walked away. There was total silence. Gandolfini goes, with a big grin on his face, he goes, you just made allusions to the fact that he's gay. You might want to go talk to him. I go, shit. I go, oh shit, you know. And there he is in the room all by himself with a cigarette. And I go, Tony. And he turns around with fire in his eyes, you know, and he's looking at me.
That scowl.
And I go, hey, listen, you know I'm a comedian, right? He goes, no. I go, hey man, I was just kidding around. He goes, watch it. And that was it. He was fucking pissed. He goes, watch it. Like that, watch it. Yeah. Tattoos, muscles. You would not mess with him. He was in great shape. You had thin waist, big chest, you know, muscle shirts. Yeah. He wasn't kidding around. He was tough. He was a tough guy. At 70, he would have kicked your ass.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of him back in the day. I'm like I said, I've told this numerous, times throughout this podcast. Sopranos is my all-time favorite show. And I'm in a ton of like Facebook groups and Instagram groups, and they'll post older pictures of James and a lot of the cast, and pictures of Tony Soprano back in the day. I mean, he was
absolutely.
Yeah.
And he pulled no punches. You didn't see me for 14 episodes.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, here I come onto the set. He goes like this. You ready? He goes, you must have done something right.
Well, they said he like right off the bat, he told him, he was like, look, he's like, we'll do this or whatever, but there's two rules. Like, I'm not ratting. Like, that's not going to happen. Or that might have been one rule. I don't know. But he said whatever happens and throughout the show, he didn't want to be killed off and he was not going to be a rat.
That's right.
Yeah.
I believe that. I believe that was true. Absolutely. Yeah. He was very worried about his reputation.
The story that I've read and heard, obviously, like I said, I wasn't around, so this is all, grapevine stuff, but he was actually in prison at the time. He was doing a bid. I'm not sure what for. And it had like I don't know what you would call it, but basically an act or a play, maybe, I guess, going on in there. And that's kind of how he got the bug to become an actor.
Ah, okay. In prison.
Yeah, in prison. because I've seen a documentary and I'm not sure. I've only seen the documentary. I don't know what it was. I want to say it was like a montage of a few different things, but he's real young, very young in there. And the guy asked him, like, did he kill somebody or has he ever killed anybody? And he just looks at him. He's like, do you think I would even answer that if I did? And he talks about beating a guy up in Sheepshead Bay and this girl that he left his wife for. I mean, it was a series. He got his hair slicked back. I mean, it looks like $1 million. I can't remember the life of me where that was, but I would love to get it again and watch it because you could tell he was authentic. There wasn't no acting with him. He was doing the real deal.
He says one of the funniest lines in the show's history. I'm in the hospital room and Gandolfini shows up with a big wad of cash and says, what's up? And he goes, he's got a shattered eardrum. and I think something's wrong with his eye socket. I told him he should keep his mouth shut next time, and it's true. And he goes, we'll give him this. And it's a big wad of cash. And then he says to Tony, I swear to God, he says this. He goes, don't worry, Tone. I'll take him and his mother to church tomorrow. I'll take him and his mother to church tomorrow. Like, that's going to make everything okay.
Well, he's
Fucking
got
hilarious.
a line late in the season when he's talking. I think it's when the whole thing with Phil Leotardo is about to go down. And he's talking about how he survived when the Colombo's Wars was going on. And he survived it by the skin of his nuts or whatever. He was actually, I think that's the time when he really was kind of involved in that type of stuff. So I think
absolutely, man.
The thing that I seen where it said with David Chase, a resume and a rap sheet went hand in hand when casting that show.
Absolutely.
Now, one of the other big times they beat you down is the ice bucket when you're on and on about the ice. Now, what was the deal with the bucket? Was that rubber also? How did they pull that?
Absolutely, it was cardboard covered with silver paint.
Really?
They put the sound in later.
Right.
Foley artist does that. They go into a studio and put the sound in later.
Right.
Yeah. When I got hit in the face with the chain, paper mache. It was paper mache with a little piece of lead at the bottom, so there was some weight to it.
Right.
But it was a paper mache chain. Huh. No, and it goes tink, and it rips my eye open. Yeah. Oh, the sound effects are perfect. Ting, and I go, oh, my eye, like that. Now, everybody says, oh, we saw you, knew you were going to get beat up. Every time we saw you, we go, oh my God, there's Georgie, he's going to get beat up.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, you had some memorable ass whippings on there, I guess.
Absolutely.
Put it. So,
one woman.
And that brings me, what was that?
And one woman said to me, I think the Sopranos is rubbing off on me. I said, what do you mean? She said, I called my dog a douchebag the other day. Sorry, go ahead.
I try to insert as many lines from the Sopranos as I can in my real life. Like I said, I've said it 1 million times, I'm a huge fan. And my wife at the time, when we first met, she came over to my house, and it's like the episode where Tony kills Ralph. And he's cut his head off, and they're like just sitting there with him pieced up, just eating ice cream, I think, waiting for the nighttime to come. And she's looking at me like, what the hell are you watching? Well, later on, she actually became a school counselor. So the counseling part of it kind of appealed to her. So now she's watched the whole show. So whenever I get a chance to, repeat a funny line or insert a line like into something that's happened in real life, she always gets it and she gets a kick out of it. And she has her honey-do list, all right, I want you to do this and this and this. And I'm like, all right, look, if I do this, it's going to be $50 now plus a blowjob later on. And that was a classic line that you told. What was the girls trying to get to the party or whatever, right? In the back of the bank.
Oh yeah. You're going to make a half a G in there.
Yeah.
And it's $50. It's a blowjob to me. And no two ways about it. And it's one that people remember. People come up to me all the time, and that's the one they come up to me and laugh about it. It's hysterical. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
now that couldn't have been a bad gig, having to work around the top of strippers. And I mean, I know you probably
tell you something
every second.
It was unsettling. And I'll tell you, Yeah, you don't know where to look.
Yeah.
There's a totally naked woman standing in front of you. Where do you look? You're gonna look at her crotch and her boobs. That's all there's to it. And he would do it. Everybody would do it. And the women crew would say, "Oh boy, we're gonna be in the Bada Bing this week. All the male crew members are gonna be freaking crazy, right? Acting crazy because there's nothing but naked women all over. And you get this, sweating. And I'll tell you why. The air conditioners in that place would go like that. So they couldn't run them. So here's 100 extras sitting around the Bing, right? Me in the middle, real strippers on stage, sweating and really dancing to the music and doing 100 takes over and over again because something went wrong or they wanted to do it from a different angle. They would cover everything. It was insane. They would do one shot over and over and over again from different angles. Yeah, me too. Me too. Falling, getting up, like that a bunch of times. So anyway, yeah, naked girls.
That was David Chase's
naked women. Sorry,
perfectionist.
Women. Oh yeah. One time there was a girl sliding down a pole. She started up there. I don't know if you remember. It's me. They pan to me. And Silvio comes over and goes, "Who we missing?" And I go, Tracy.
Yeah.
Left Thursday, haven't seen her since. Well, the beginning of the scene is she comes down the pole. I screwed up my line a couple times. And that's bad, I told you. And he comes up to me, he goes, "Listen, this girl's getting really tired of sliding down this pole. Could you get the line right to see?" He's being funny. You know, everybody has a brain fart.
Right.
No two ways about it, especially when the pressure's on and there's 100 people in motion.
Yeah.
It really is wild. You know, you don't understand. It's like a big ballet. And so she's got to start up the top. She's got to climb up there, hang, and get ready for them to say action. And then she slides down the pole. I come walking in like this. And if I screw up again, it's no good. They'll be fucking ripped at me.
Now,
so, yeah.
The girls that were there, were they paid actors? Were they actually strippers?
They were half and half. I'll tell you what, half and half. There were real strippers, and then there were the actresses. And in between takes, the actresses would put robes on. For real. You know, can I get a robe? And the real strippers were like, you know what? And let's put it this way, they weren't never totally naked.
Right.
Well, he was always wearing something. It's some kind of law jersey or whatever.
Right.
You really couldn't do it anyway. You can't totally make unless you go to an X-rated club. Right. That's not what this was. Yeah, Bada Bing wasn't that.
Here in South Carolina, we've got some clubs, and one of them, it was fully nude. The one across the street, it was only topless.
Absolutely.
And I think the fully nude one, I don't know if it had anything to do with this or not, but it was a BYOB. It was a bring your own beer.
Oh, right.
And I think because of you not having to have the alcohol license or something along those lines, that might have been how they were able to get away with it. But that to me was better because it was a higher cover, but you could bring your own. It doesn't matter what you brought, 2 cases of beer, whatever. They put it on ice for you, and you drink off that all night long. And that was, to me, was a lot better deal because I like to throw them back. So. And then you got to see, the whole deal there, the whole package, so to speak. That was always fun for me.
Absolutely.
Now it's what, Satin Dolls, right? The real
Satin Dolls, Route 16, Lodi, New Jersey. Right at 6 miles away from Hackensack.
Now, most of your scenes took place in the Bing, but there's one in particular that's really funny. You and Christopher. Michael Imperial, you have to go dig up that body.
Absolutely. Brendan Fallone.
Was it Brendan? I thought that was Kolar. Kolar. That's
it. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's who it was.
Yeah. Yep. So you're digging, and then he finally gets to it and he brings it back and you're like, is that him? And he's like, it'd be some fucking coincidence if it wasn't.
I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid. I played it perfectly. I'm sorry.
Now, was that written like that? You didn't
absolutely
for anything? Yeah.
No. It was word for word. I'm doing his writing.
Right.
Whoever wrote it. It was actually under the bridge. Really under the bridge. They really had a guy down there that looked like he was decomposed. They had real crabs. They got real crabs.
Wow.
Try to get them to move around.
Mhm.
We're waiting forever for the crab to move, you know, and sometimes they just want to sit. Waiting for fucking crabs to move, for real. And so, yeah, and I go puke.
Yes.
I run away and I go puke.
Yeah.
And they told me to take a big hit of this pea soup. I'm not kidding. It was pea soup in a can.
Mm.
And I took a big hit and and you couldn't even see it. It was too far away.
Yeah.
It was stupid that they made me take such a big hit of it.
Yeah.
You know? I had to run over to the thing and they go like that. It didn't read enough on camera. But me and Michael Imperioli, yeah, he was a good guy.
Yeah.
Very quiet, very to himself.
Really?
Didn't talk to me really about anything. Just we did the scene and that was it. Then we're in the bathroom. Remember, I'm looking for bugs
Yeah.
underneath the bathroom
Yeah.
with the metal detector.
Yeah.
He was cool in that. You know, it was fun. I can't figure out why I'm not on that podcast.
Yeah, I
I don't
don't
understand.
know either. There's a few guys that didn't get on there that I was really shocked why they didn't. You yourself, John Fiore, who's been on the show with us. He was a great guest. I mean, y'all have got John dying on the shitter for one. I mean, that's just
Right.
in and of itself is very.
And I'm still alive. I'm still alive on the show. If they were to go to do a sequel,
yeah.
which I'm hearing stories about this. I'm not kidding. I'm here. You know, they went backwards.
Yeah,
now they're going to go forward. What happened since Tony Soprano died? What happened to this,
young
family? Georgie's now the boss.
Yeah.
Or a drag queen.
How did you like the mini Saints? What was your thoughts on that?
It was all right. Parts and all right. It was, you know, it was good. There were parts of it that were good.
Mm-hmm.
Parts that weren't good.
That was kind of my take. I mean,
it wasn't shockingly great. You know, it wasn't shockingly bad. There were some characters that were dead on. Some of them were like, "What?"
Yeah.
You were like, "What?"
Yeah. I thought
I didn't get it.
The Uncle Junior line, the sisters cunt twice was a little too much. Once was good, twice was maybe a little overkill.
Exactly.
How many sisters do you have, for crying out loud?
Right. Your sister's ass. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd waited so long for it, you know, anything.
Too much hype.
It was going to be hard for it to, I guess, maybe exceed expectations and live up, you know, to what it had. It to me felt like a intermediate Sopranos episode where you enjoyed it, but there wasn't like a lot of shit that took place, so to speak.
Exactly.
And I guess maybe the big twist is you're finding out that Junior actually had Dickie killed. That was kind of like the big twist to it.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was
absolutely. Yeah, no, it's yeah.
I don't know. I don't get that. I don't know why you guys weren't on that podcast. And I guess they're done with it now and they wrapped it up. I know they did a book. Did they contact you guys for anything with the book or anything? Wow.
Well, you know, here's a friend of mine. I said, geez, I wonder why I used to kid around at the writers' meetings and say, can I shoot someone? And they'd go, no. Just like that. And so a friend of mine said, Frank, let's do the math. You got Melfi, you got Tony Soprano, you got the kid, you got the daughter, you got the wife, you got Livia. They're paying through the nose for this show. They're paying 9 stars.
Mm-hmm.
It's killing them. They're paying Melfi $75,000 an episode.
Wow.
And she's in the show for 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. I'm guessing. These are all guesses. They're paying out 9 people. Not kidding. He goes, Frank, they don't want to make you a star. They don't want to make you a star because if they make you a star, then they got to pay you.
Wow.
I mean, I made a good buck, but I didn't make what those guys were making.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's some big money. I know James had a contract dispute. I want to say it was probably around season 5 or 4 or 5.
Yes, he did. He wanted $1 million an episode.
He got it.
I think he got it.
Yeah.
I think it lasts 2 seasons. He was making $1 million an episode. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now he gave what I think he gave the cast all like 33 grand or something like that. And I heard.
Yes, he did. And he gave watches out. I got a
Watches.
watch from him. Yep. I got a belt buckle. Sounds funny. It's pewter, and it's weirdly hooking onto the leather, but it's a pewter belt buckle that says Sopranos.
Wow.
I have a leather embossed black jacket that was a crew member's jacket that he gave only to the crew. There's probably only 60 of them.
Wow.
Yeah, he was very generous, very generous. And you're right about that. He gave a big chunk of money to each cast member to bump up their per episode rate.
Right.
It wasn't just a one-time thing. It was big dough he gave out.
Yeah.
But he was making big dough. He goes,
right.
What the fuck? Why do I care?
Yeah.
He was the nicest guy in the fucking world. He really was. And he would high five me when we were done. Make sure you're not hurt, are you? I'm not hurting you, all right? No. It's
yeah.
When he hits me with the with the singing fish.
Yeah, the
Billy Bass.
Yeah.
One of them was made of balsa wood. It exploded like a bomb. And even the crew went, oh, like that. The pieces go flying all over the fucking place. Fucking hilarious. And he goes, you're okay, right? I said, yeah. And that was the best take because the pieces just explode all over the fucking place. Yeah. A singing fish.
Now, what was the last beat down the water bucket? Was that the last one you're in the show?
No, it was I'm wearing a flannel shirt. I'm at the bar and everyone's there. Tony Blendetto, everybody's there talking about the end of the world.
You got to live for today.
Goes, that's it. That's my last beat down. He takes a shot glass and it's plastic, of course, and weighs nothing, but he fills it with ice. And it explodes. It's hysterical. It looks like he's breaking a shot glass over my head.
Right. That's
and I mean, you don't even see me. He just pummels me to the ground and they pull him off of me.
Yeah.
That's it. That's my, and then that's the one the next time. Right. It's over. Yeah. And I'm not in any more episodes after that.
Now, did you get a call or something like that saying this is going to be it? Or was it just you shot
Absolutely.
it? And...
Absolutely. And they said, everybody gives you like a round of applause and they go, this is Frank Santorelli, his final episode. And that was it. That was my 13th episode.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was a great run. It was so cool. And what's funny is I got a great story. We're at the Radio City Music Hall for the opening.
Right.
Have you ever been there?
I have toured the Radio City Music Hall. Yeah.
All right. So the big screen. It's a humongous screen. It was the biggest screen. I mean, forget about it. There was probably 6,000-7,000 people there. And I'm walking in and I stopped waiting for my manager. It's literally like a red carpet. And I'm standing there and here comes Gandolfini and his son, who's a baby, in his arms as he walks by me, and he stops and he goes, Georgie. And I go, hey, man. And he kind of hugged me like he couldn't do it right. And I went like that. He said, good to see you, man. Good to see you. I said, yeah, I'll talk to you. And he goes, and he was with his wife, his first wife. And he'd take about 3 steps and he turns and he goes, what is your real fucking name anyway? I go, it's Frank. He goes, okay. He goes, okay. And he walks away. And so, honest to God, is that the funniest thing? What is your fucking real name anyway? Because they were calling me Georgie.
Yeah.
And so, Jesus Christ, Georgie, right? He goes, if you don't know how to answer the fucking phone, take a message. Jesus Christ, Georgie. Oh, he's praying too. He prays. He goes, Jesus Christ, Georgie. My mother's 76 years old. What the fuck is your problem?
Oh, the water. It dilutes the drink.
Oh, shit. I lost my train of thought. What the fuck was I talking about?
Oh, you said he was asking you your real name in the Radio City.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm on the red carpet still, and I'm waiting, and people are walking by me. I see Tony Soprano. I say, hey, how you doing? And here comes Stevie Van Zandt with Bruce Springsteen and Patty Scout.
Whoa.
And they get out of the limo, and Van Sant goes, "Hey, Georgie, how you doing?" I said, "Good." I said, "I don't give a shit. They call me Georgie. I don't give a fuck." And so he goes, "Georgie, this is Bruce." Now I'm getting introduced to Bruce Springsteen and Patty Scalfa as Georgie. This is Georgie. I go, "Hey, how you doing? Good to see you." I don't say anything. "Hey, good to see you. I'll see you inside." Okay. And they go, and I swear to God, Van Sant takes the same exact amount of steps. He turns around and goes, "What the fuck is your real name anyway?" I go, "It's Frank." He goes, he wrinkles his face and goes, "Let's keep it Georgie." I said, "Okay, I'll see you in there." Is that fucking hilarious? Both guys. What is your real name anyway?
Now, when you got the word that you were going to be off the show, did you keep watching it as a fan?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Absolutely. Were you able to like go to like premieres and stuff like that, or finale shows?
Absolutely. I went to a whole bunch of parties and rap parties, and oh yeah, it was great. And yeah.
They said the food that they had on those sets and stuff like that was unfucking believable.
Well, absolutely. That's a union thing. And like a wedding 3 times a day, feeding 150 people 3 times a day. So fascinating. They would find a place. We'd be shooting at the Bing, and we get on a street and go in. There's a door. You come into a room. There's be a huge hall and just filled with all buffet style, but anything you wanted. Chicken Parmesan, big dough. And there was meal penalties, what's called a meal penalty, which means if we work past a certain time and we don't eat, the show has to pay a fine. And of course, the Sopranos didn't give a shit because they were making so much money. So a lot of times we would work past, and we knew there was a meal penalty going on.
Right.
Didn't matter. A couple hours later, you eat, and then you eat like crazy. I mean, anything you want for real. Huge line of everything: salad, chicken, fruit, nuts, pizza, you name it, lasagna.
And that's one thing about that show. Like, obviously a lot of the time Tony's eating and stuff like that. And
sure,
we talked with Robert Fanara. We had an interview with him, and he was saying, like, if they had a scene where he had to start eating and you wanted to redo it, then you got to do it again. So you got to take those bites. I mean, you're eating a shitload of food trying to get some of these scenes knocked out. I mean, that's a lot of food.
You are absolutely right. And so check this out. 1985, I get cast in Spencer for Hire with Robert Urich, shot here in Boston. And I'm a sharpshooter on the building. And he's going to come out with a bagel in his hand, chewing and going, "Oh yeah, you think everything's cool? Well, look up here." And all 3 sharpshooters are aimed at him. That's the scene. And so Robert Urich would take a bite out of the bagel, and a plane would go overhead, and he would spit the bagel out into the girl's hand because he didn't want to eat. It was 15 takes they were doing over and over again. And he didn't want to keep taking a bite of these freaking bagels. And so she's got paper towels, and he's spitting the bagels into her hands. Yeah. And then every once in a while, he would eat one.
Wow.
But multiple takes. That's another thing. Crazy multiple takes. The Sopranos. Big time. They call it coverage. So they can go back and edit the shit out of it,
Yeah.
Sure.
So out of everybody you work with, you had a lot of people come in and out. You made it all the way to what? You were in season 5 was your last one. That was with Blundetto, Steve Buscemi.
Sure.
We're going to cancel Jimmy from this question because I know if we ask, that's probably going to be everybody's answer. Who was your favorite guy to work with, or not necessarily work with, because you were kind of confined to the certain people that you work with, but who was your favorite guy to hang around set with? Just a bullshit.
Van Sant.
Van Sant.
Yeah. And you know what? He was the nicest guy on the whole show. Yeah. Not to take anything away from any of the other people, but he was so real. He sent me a Christmas card one year. Just a real nice guy. And just, I maintain he had his millions way before any of these other people did.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was already Bruce Springsteen's right-hand man. Are you kidding me? And touring the world 5 times over.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
come on.
if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I think that originally they wanted him for the lead. It was, I think
You are
Chase
correct.
wanted him for the lead,
You
but they
are
didn't want to trust
absolutely-
it, you know, with somebody that was a non-actor.
You are absolutely correct. It was a bizarre story where I heard he wanted to go to a different city all the time, shoot one shot in Providence, Rhode Island, then one in Boston, then one in Chicago, then one in Cleveland, like that. A mob story.
Right.
And he ran into Van Zandt at a Christmas party, and Van Zandt was going, every time I try to get out, they pull me back in, that kind of thing. and he's got Chase crying with laughter. So the original idea, you are correct, but there's a little twist. It was going to be a comedy mafia story, one story. The episodic thing wasn't even in his head yet. He wanted to use Van Zandt. He wanted to do a funny comedy mob thing starring Van Zandt.
Wow.
And then it mutated into all this other crap.
Now, do you think that's kind of where Lilyhammer come from? The bad Lilyhammer?
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. Now, we're going to flip that. Was there anybody that you wasn't very keen on working with?
Not really. No, I didn't have any negative. I really didn't. I mean, no, I wasn't there enough. You know, I mean, I'd show up for 2 days and I'd be gone.
Right.
I'd show up for 2 days and I'd be gone, like that.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, only 13 out of 87 episodes. That's another thing. The part's not big enough. They think.
Right.
They think.
Now, one of the
It's like
guys,
I'm a glorified extra to them.
one of the guys that you did get to spend a little time with working, like we talked about earlier, where he slocked you in the eye, Joe Pantaleone playing Ralphie.
He was great. He was great.
Your biggest villains in there, Richie Aprile, you know, Ralphie, and then Phil later on. Richie and Ralphie were really close at playing their roles. Ralphie was he was fantastic. Fantastic.
I'll tell you what he did. I don't know if you remember the scene. I opened the door and he goes, I've come to reclaim him from my people. And I go, what? And he goes, Gladiator, you fuck. And I go, huh? Yeah, I didn't see it. And he breaks a pretzel on my chest. He doesn't tell me he's going to do this. And he takes a pretzel rod that he's been gnawing on, and he takes it and he drills it into my chest, and it hurt like a son of a bitch. It really did. He stabs me with this, but he wanted my natural reaction. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. He doesn't say a word to me. He just does it. And he grabbed my face. He didn't tell me he was going to do that either. He goes, I have come, and he grabs my face. I go, I'm just going with it, man. You know what I mean? Like, it was great because I didn't expect it. And he got me. He showed me like what it is to be a veteran actor and to get real reactions from people. When he broke that pretzel, and I just went, I go like this, I go, you know, it was a natural. And David Chase goes, perfect. And then he tries to stab me with the pool stick.
Yeah.
And this is where Sirico comes in, and it's genius. He's going, and he's jabbing me with it. And he's jabbing me with it. And he goes, and I go, cut it out. And I grab it from him, pull it away from him, stand it up, and yell at him, that fucking hurts. Cut it out. Scene's over. Tony Sirico walks over to me. You played it perfect. I go, what? He goes, you fucking played it perfect. You didn't come at him. You didn't advance towards him. He's a made guy. You make one move to him and you're alligator meat. I go, Cool. He goes, yeah, do it like that every time. Don't make a move towards him. Pull it away. It's perfect. You don't go and like you're going to threaten to hurt him.
Right.
Because if you do that, to kill you.
Yeah.
I'll back. 5 minutes later. No. You did it perfect. And I didn't even know what I was fucking doing. I just did it. I knew I wasn't supposed to do anything. They didn't say to me, go at him or what. I just grabbed it from him.
Right.
Anyway, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
You played it perfect.
That's those street rules. If they're a made guy, you're not, which I mean, I know Tony does slap the shit out of him a little bit later on after he beat the stripper to death. But, you know, by and large, that is the rule. If you're made, you're not allowed to put your hands or come at, period. Especially if you're not made.
You don't even look cross.
Yeah.
At the guy. Yeah. Simple.
Well, that's some cool stuff, man. A lot of information. Now,
absolutely.
When it's still, I don't know if it's actually showing on any networks right now. Obviously, I know it's still on. You know,
it's always running somewhere.
It's always now. Do you guys still get residuals for that?
Absolutely.
Wow.
You bet your boots. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's not. Simple as that.
Those
just like the stock market.
Right. Yeah. Now, what would be the difference why they're good and why they're bad? Is that for your case when they're doing the seasons? Maybe
it's literally who's buying it, who's it'll say foreign sales, DVD sales. It used to say DVD sales. Mm-hmm. Not too much anymore because of the streaming.
Right.
And so, but people are we still get money. Mm-hmm. Every time my likeness is on screen, and the Screen Actors Guild is watching.
SAG, yeah.
Because they get a cut.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. I get a cut. I get the rest. So my manager takes some, like that kind of thing, and then I get the rest. But there is definitely ups and downs because it's not being shown. Like right now, if it was on A&E and they do them out of order because they don't want you to fucking tape them.
Yeah.
In order. They want you to go buy the DVD in the store, or they want you to buy HBO. Right. When it starts running on HBO again, you'll get HBO.
I remember when it used to be on A&E, and then I bought them. I got a Blu-ray box set, and then I know right now they're streaming on HBO Max too. For people that have HBO Max, you can go on and stream. But
absolutely,
the quality of them too is I guess now with the upscale to the 4K is crazy. It's crazy. Because believe it or not, when the Sopranos first came on, as big as a fan I am of anything mafia related, I wasn't watching it when it first came on. A matter of fact, I don't think I watched it until season 3. I was home one night, and I was in my early partying stage too. So I was kind of out and about in the clubs and stuff every night. And I'm watching, I think it was the opener of season 3, where it's the montage at the beginning where they're following everybody. And Tony goes up to the car and he knocks on the car and he's like, "Hey, I'm just going up to the store. You don't have to follow me like last week." And I'm like, well, that's kind of funny. And I finished watching that and I'm like, I got to go check this out. And back then, I mean, I was still in school. These fucking box sets were almost $100. I mean, they were expensive. They were the most expensive box sets I think there was at the time.
Absolutely, $200 or something.
Yeah. And so I went
175, 200.
Yeah. I found them at a pawn shop for a lot less than retail the first 2 seasons. So I bought them and then binge watched them straight through. Cause at the time, I don't think they even had it where you could go back and rewatch like they do now. And I was hooked after that. I mean, I didn't miss an episode, and I'm there, every Sunday night. And that was religious for, me and the family watching it. And we'll talk about that too, before we wrap this up. The finale, it's been talked about, debated for years and years and years. What's your opinion on the finale? Did you like it? And what do you think happened?
No, it was terrible.
Yeah.
It was, it didn't show any closure. My mother didn't like the show. And I'll tell you why. She said, this story happens over here, and then this story goes this way, and then this story goes this way. David Chase did that on purpose.
Right.
To drive you crazy, to make you watch, and to make you annoyed and whatever. And so this is one of his ploys, was to annoy people. People thought they sat on the remote.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did too.
People said, did you pay the cable bill?
Exactly.
Are you fucking kidding me? This is how it ends. It just puffs. Well, initially he was pissed. They came at him and he goes, there's no more. No, there's no more. And he didn't really say one way or the other. I think they just left it open for a sequel.
Yeah.
They were going to do a
Possibility
sequel in
is-
about 10 years, and they were going to make a killing.
Mhm.
And they were going to say, what happened to Tony Soprano since the screen went bust?
Right.
What happened? Did he get shot in the cafe?
Yeah.
In the restaurant? That would have been great. They could have gone back to the same restaurant and showed him get shot, but he died.
Mhm.
And so everything changed.
Right.
Everything changed. Now you're not doing a sequel. Now you're not doing nothing. What are you going to do? Well, you got the kid. Okay, so let's do that. And that was a good idea. That was a great idea. It's never been done. It's unprecedented.
Right. Yeah. I don't.
Kid did a great job. What can you say? But what I'm saying is, yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
I know. I mean, that was what you said too. I mean, the kid did a great job. I don't know if that has ever been done where the son is playing a younger version of the father.
Oh my God.
Like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's ever been done.
I mean, I think the screen went black, and it was kind of, to me, it was a slap in the face to these people that sat around for 8 years, for 87 episodes, watching this damn show.
Yeah.
And to do that was like, what? What do you mean? And now he's changed his tune. Now he's saying that he was murdered, he was killed, whatever. Who knows? Here's the thing. Like I said, if he were alive, they wouldn't even be thinking about you. You're using his son in the show as somebody else.
Right.
And they'd be starring James Gandolfini. He'd be making 50 million in one shot for doing this. What's her name? Ellen DeGeneres got $66 million for Finding Dory. Guess what? The movie made freaking 800 million.
Yeah.
She got a pittance of but 66 million. This is what Gandolfini would have got.
Yeah.
He would have got money like that to come back as Tony Soprano. Are you kidding? And all his movies were like,
yeah.
He plays the gay Marine. It's like, come on, he plays the Mexican gunfighter or Mexican hitman. His movies were kind of like, no, we wanted to see him as Tony Soprano. I hate to say that. But that was
you're right. And it's one of those times to where when an actor just embodies a role so damn good, and you don't even look at you, they erase your real existence. I'm sure his close friends and everything so called him, James or Jimmy Gandolfini, but like that's Tony Soprano. No matter what movie you see him in, that's Tony Soprano playing another character.
And when he was Tony Soprano, he was the best goddamn actor on the fucking planet. You saw it all here. Everything was here. If he was happy, sad, jealous, it was unbelievable. He was our Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
He was a superb actor. My God. I mean, it was just not to be believed. He was that good. And so that's that. What do you say to that? And it's a shame that he died, but yeah, I don't know what they would have been doing, but here I would love to see them do. Georgie comes back. We see Georgie. He's the boss, but then he doubles as a drag queen. And we see him in the place when you go, oh, he's the mob boss is a drag queen. Talk about therapy. Talk about going into therapy. What are you kidding me?
Yeah, I'm about like you. If he was still around, there's no telling what they could have done. Matter of fact, John Fiore and I spoke about that. He's like, if they're doing this movie, if they happen to come on and want to do, a show about it, if they come to HBO, you're a head start right there. You're number one out of the gate just because of that Sopranos lore. Now you're going to have the story to keep people interested and keep people watching, but just that mystique. And I think since the pandemic has even made it more popular than before because people are discovering it. And it's crazy how many times, like when I first meet somebody, it's, hey, how you doing? Where you from? You watch Sopranos? That's like my fourth question on the list, debate whether me and you are going to get along. That's up there. And there's so many people now that have discovered the show and have watched it. And I'm just like, dude, what the fuck were you doing during this time period? How would you not watch this?
Watching Lost.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, Frank,
unbelievable.
Man, I'm glad you could stop by the show.
Thanks,
I've had a blast going down memory lane.
Me too.
Now you're still
Call me
doing your
again. Call
comedy.
me again. Absolutely. I'm doing my stand-up. I know I wasn't funny tonight, but I do stand-up.
Right. Well, what
Go
we're
on
talking
YouTube.
about-
Yeah, tell people to go on YouTube. There's a whole shitload. Godfathers of Comedy.
Godfathers of comedy.
Godfathers of Comedy on
Okay.
YouTube. It'll come up and you'll see me do like 8 minutes at the Arcada Theater in Chicago with Paul D'Angelo. It's 5 Italian guys.
Okay. Now, and is
And,
that strictly around the Boston area? You guys travel wherever?
We went on a tour. We're no longer doing the tour. It's
Okay.
it's an older set of mine from like 15 years ago, 12
Okay.
years ago.
Okay.
But it's me. It's my act. And
Right.
it's really funny, and it's what I use to sell myself.
Okay.
So it's called the Godfathers of Comedy.
What's
Frank Santorelli.
what's your funniest joke we can close out with? What's the one that you killed? You get the most laughs.
All right. A guy walks in on his wife with another guy,
Mm-hmm.
and the wife's in bed with the guy. She looks at the guy she's with. She goes, "Look who's here, Big Mouth. Now the whole fucking neighborhood's gonna know." I love that joke.
Oh,
Look
man.
who's here.
They would definitely know. They would definitely know
Sure.
for sure. Well, Frank,
Well, all right,
I've
man.
had a blast, man. I'm glad
I'll
you
do
could
this
stop
again
by.
anytime you want, man. Anytime you want.
That sounds
All
good.
right,
We'll
kid.
definitely get together
All
and
right.
do it again.
All right.
Everybody, we want to thank you for joining in to this episode of Crime and Entertainment. That was the beaten up bartender from The Sopranos, ladies and gentlemen, Frank Santorelli. I am Hollywood Wade, and unfortunately, we are out of time. Catch us here next
All
week
right.
on an all new episode of Crime and Entertainment. Frank, appreciate it, my friend.
You got it, buddy. See you later, Wade. All right.